Today we're going to be talking about all things custom routes. I wanted to take some time and go over my best practices when creating a custom route. I don't tend to do videos like this, but I figured I should because there are a lot of things that I do that most people would find useful, from the planning stages all the way up to naming the route and the settings. I searched high and low on the internet to find a how-to video on custom routes, but really didn't find anything helpful. I've built over 40 custom routes ranging from 3 miles in length to my 39-mile Medusa rally stage, so I have a lot of practice and knowledge in building these routes. I've actually been building custom routes since back in Horizon 3. I would find some awesome off-road trails and find unique ways in connecting them, and then just hop into a private online lobby and run it. I had to do off-road races because there was no traffic on the off-road sections. Alright, now let's get into some building. So the first thing I always do once I've decided on rally racing or tarmac racing is study the map. I tend to have an idea of an area in which I want the race to start. What I do is I go to that area of the map and filter out the things on the map to show only the road, dirt, or cross-country blueprints. I do that because 1, they are the only blueprints you can create a route from, and 2, it makes the roads on the map more visible to figure out the best way to connect them and plan your route. Now, for the sake of difficulty, let's look at an off-road rally stage because it's more difficult to connect dirt roads and trails. And also, I'm addicted to rally racing. Let's plan on building a simple point-to-point rally stage. I want to have it start somewhere around the quarry and would like to have a stage somewhere around 6 miles. Don't worry about what class car you're running, as you can edit in a couple variations from your custom route later if you wish to set a particular class. We'll touch on that as well in a bit. Now let's just say we're going to start our new race here at the Derwent Reservoir Sprint blueprint. It's a road racing blueprint, but we aren't worried about that. You can change the series when creating the settings later. As we can see, the blueprint starts running east, so immediately I see one very good route option for rally racing. And this area offers up a ton of dirt roads, so we don't have to worry too much about a good race flow. Alright, now let's start building. Now what I like to do is grab a lower class car to drive when building, so I have as much control of the car as possible. That's important because you want to make sure you are building a solid driving line for those who still use one. Most of you already know this, but the AI will literally drive the exact route you drive when building, so you can pretty much make them do whatever you want. If you want them to drive out of your way at the start, you can simply drive off the route at the start and lead them off into nowhere and then back onto the race route. Now you have to be careful not to overlap your route because it will shorten and cut out all of the route down to the section where you overlapped your driving line. When you're pleased with how much you've confused the AI, simply drive back onto the road and get ready for your first checkpoint. You don't have to confuse the AI, but I like to sometimes because I want to hot lap and run rally stages like I would in real life. One more tip. Always make the AI drive off to the right at the start. If you'll notice, you start every race on the left side of the grid, so if you move them to the right, you can just drive away straight in clean air. Okay, let's get to the checkpoints and checkpoint placement. Now, checkpoint placement is very important when building your custom route. There is a lot that goes into it. You want to make sure that your checkpoints are angled correctly. You also want to make sure they are wide enough for your location or the road you're driving on, and you want to space them out properly from each other. There are always going to be exceptions to these scenarios, but for the route creation in general, this will work best for you. To start, you want to make sure that your first checkpoint is close enough to the start-finish line to be visible from the start of the race. Also, for those who use rewind, the first checkpoint has to be far enough out for the game to allow them to rewind if needed. I like to give about 2 to 3/10 of a mile until I drop my first checkpoint. Again, sometimes that's not an option, so use your best judgment. The checkpoint angle is important as well, because you want the flags to be as visible as possible when coming into a corner or driving the route. For instance, if you're setting a checkpoint on a long sweeping corner, you can typically just set the checkpoint somewhere in the middle of that corner and it won't be an issue. But if you are setting a checkpoint in a 90-degree corner or sharper, you'll want to make sure your inside flag is just inside of the apex, and your outside flag should be as far to the outer edge of that corner as possible at the 45-degree mark. Just draw a straight line from your apex to the outside of the corner. That way you have a target on the apex to hit, and the outside flag as sort of a waypoint as a point of reference. After setting your checkpoint, you need to start thinking about where to place your next one. Again, you want to space them out nicely, but you also want to make sure you can see the next checkpoint very soon after hitting the first one. If you ever get lost while building, you can simply hit the pause button and select View Map to help plan your next turn or checkpoint location. You want to make sure that you place checkpoints and corners to ensure people aren't cutting. Because we don't have the liberty to place walls, there is no way to prevent cutting unless you place checkpoints properly. Now, on very long routes such as Medusa, I had to space them further apart, so there are a few corners that you can cut a little bit. As you know, we're limited to 40 miles and 250 checkpoints on custom routes, so use them wisely. So as you see here, I just dropped a checkpoint. So what I will do is drop my next one in the next corner. Okay, now that we've dropped all of our checkpoints and are right around the length I wanted, I'll start planning my finished location. Make sure to place your checkpoints somewhere realistic. There's nothing worse than driving a cool race and then having the finish line be in some weird location that doesn't make sense or fit with the rest of the race. After placing your finish line, you'll have to test run your race. This is to make sure you're happy with the race overall and to make sure it makes sense. Once you've tested, you'll be prompted to create your custom route. Here's where you will save your blueprint in the weird saved blueprint abyss, and then move on to making settings and naming your route. Here you'll want to make sure all of your custom settings are to your liking. You can change the racing series, season, time of day, weather, etc. So since we started our rally stage on a road racing blueprint, we will change it to a dirt series first thing. Then we'll set the season, then the weather, and then choose fixed or progressive time. Fixed means that the time of day and weather will not change the whole race. If you set it to morning fog, it will be morning and foggy the entire race. Progressive time means that the time in the Horizon 4 world will move forward as normal. So if you start at sunset, it will most likely be dark by the time you finish the race. After you've done your settings, you can choose the car types you want to be eligible for the race. This is all up to you. I prefer to leave it open so that people can run whatever they want. You can select specific cars to run by cycling all the way to the right. Here you can pick up to 50 cars you would like to make eligible for the route. Once you have all of your settings sorted, you now have the liberty to create a name for your race. Now, don't be afraid to use your imagination. I can't give insight here as it's all your personal preference. Just have some fun with it. Now, after you've named your route, you can now create your route. After it's all done, you now just need to run the race one more time to make it live and share it with the world. Remember my comment earlier about editing your custom blueprint? It's actually very simple. I just learned about this recently by my good friend Dice Plays on my Discord. My Discord link, by the way, is in the description. Be sure to join up. What you have to do is head over to your blueprint location that you created your custom route from. You will want to select the far left option. From here, you will find your custom route, and when you find it, you'll be able to edit it just as you can with any other blueprint on the map. You can select a certain class, season, championship, cars, etc. This is a good way to build up your Creative Hub blueprints and gain some extra dough. Just remember that you can only save up to 5 blueprints at each location. It will save your last 5 custom blueprints, so be careful when doing this. We pretty much covered all things custom routes. If you can think of anything I missed, please let me know in the comments below. I really hope this was informative, and I hope it helps you when creating your next blueprint. Now, stay tuned as we'll be taking a quick run on the blueprint we just created in the video. We're going to be running the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo with a custom paint. My A-Class tune is available. If you'd like to use it, search my gamertag PTG ConnerSpeed. Let's get to it. Please be sure to hit the like button below, and if you're new to the channel, it'd mean a lot if you subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. Now sit back, strap in, and enjoy. Much love, everyone. See you soon.